Day in, day out, it's the same road we're walking down. Same job, same town, 'cause we've been told that's the way our world goes round. Walking on the grounds we've always known, stepping on the footprints in the snow. But when it melts, the other ways will show. We're gonna make the footsteps on our own. That life can wait, just for a while.
Hello everyone, I want to first thank you for clicking on the button to watch the very first episode of The Hip Little Garden. My name is Rasai and I am the voice behind the camera. I want to just have my first episode giving you guys a tour of my indoor grow room. I'm located in my basement. We pretty much turned our utility room into a grow room. And I hope you guys like what you see. I hope that I can in future help you with your growing. And if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the comments. And if you like this video, please subscribe for future videos. And I'm going to go ahead and start off the tour. So I want to first kind of turn the camera to give you a look at my grow room. So at the top and the bottom shelves over here is just nothing but hydroponics. Then when you come over on this side, there's also nothing but hydroponics. But then once you get towards the center of the room, you can see that I have a tower garden here and I have a tower garden here. And then as you turn around, I have a greenhouse, which this is my bigger greenhouse. And then to the left is a smaller greenhouse. And I am going to start off with explaining about the hydroponic systems and what I'm growing, and then move over to the greenhouses. So getting back to the hydroponic systems, there are some that I have built, there's lots that I have bought, and I've pretty much spent about $2,000 in total on the greenhouses that I purchased. And then of course on the ones that I've actually built myself, I would say I've probably only spent about $100. And at this point I prefer to make my own hydroponic systems than buy hydroponic systems. So let's start with this. So this here is just a little hybrid hydroponic system. Pretty much I started out by planting the thyme in soil, and then as the plant grew and the roots came out of the bottom of the cup right there, then you just pour the nutrient solution in here, which is looking a little dry, so I'm gonna have to actually add some nutrients. But pretty much it's like a little hybrid hydroponics, and it grows really fast. Moving along over here, this is a system that I built myself out of an ice cream container. It's a 1-gallon ice cream container, and this is a sugar baby watermelon. Once it actually germinates, I'm going to be moving this to a different spot in the grow room. And then as we come up here, this is a 24-inch arrow garden, and I'm growing banana peppers in the back. I have arugula in the front, and I have some parsley also in the front. And then I have my eggplant, which as you can see, it has been flowering, if I can say the word. And I've pretty much been using an electric toothbrush on it to try and pollinate it. And then moving along to the next system over here, I have a tiger stripe tomato, which it looks like they are starting to ripen, so yay for that. I have more tomatoes on the stem and more coming in. And then as we move over, I have some oregano growing right here in the front. I did have lettuce, but we ate it, so it's pretty much gone, which was right there. Then I have a big huge basil plant here, which I harvested a lot of basil off the other day. And then I have the black cram tomato plant, and as you can see, I do have a couple of tomatoes growing on there. Then as we come down on the lower section, as you can see, I have some Swiss chard growing, which I had to cut back so that the pepper plants could actually start getting more light, and that's a jalapeno pepper plant. And a little further back is a serrano pepper plant. And then as you come more to the center, I also have 2 more serrano pepper plants growing, and as you can see, they're already producing peppers, which I am super excited about. And then as you come over here, there's more Swiss chard and of course more peppers that I'm growing, because we love peppers in this house. We eat a lot of spicy dishes. And then we come right here and we have some Chinese spinach, or I'm sorry, cabbage. And then as you come to the center right here, we have some bok choy, which it's been growing for quite some time. As you can see, I've been cutting on it, and as you cut on it, it just continues to grow back, or, you know, grow more. And then right over here, I have some dwarf kale, some Russian kale, and some collards. And then as you come over, let me shift this light, I have more peppers growing, and I also have another basil plant, and then here is lacinato kale that I have growing. These containers with the silver are all containers that I actually built myself. And then as we come back to the center, you can actually see my little tower garden. A couple of things I have growing. I have some Swiss chard at the top. Up here I have some lettuce, and it got a little stringy because the lights wasn't very good, so I'm trying to give it a chance, but I think I'm going to have to cut it and just replant. And then as you come over here, this is some Bloomsdale spinach that's coming up. Right here we also have some mustard spinach, and then I planted some more mustard spinach. Like, this is the spinach here, and then I have more coming in. At the bottom is Swiss chard. Then I have more kale coming in here. And as I turn it, I kind of shift it every couple of hours to make sure that everything is getting enough light, you know. This right here is some pak choy. And then I have more Bloomsdale spinach here. And I've planted more Swiss chard down here, so it just hasn't come up yet. Then we come over to the second tower garden, and I have a tiny Tim tomato plant here. I have a transplanted pepper here from the hydroponic system, and then at the top I am growing basil, and it looks like I planted, which I can't believe I did that, but I planted more Swiss chard, so we'll see how that works out. And then I have some sage growing as well because we love herbs. This is dill that I have right down here, and I've actually planted more, so that's going to be fuller in the next week or two. And then we have some Italian parsley, and we have, let's see, this is lemon basil that's coming up, and this is oregano that's coming up right now. And then at the bottom, this is cilantro, which I also planted more cilantro, so hopefully it'll be full here soon. So yeah, these are my two tower gardens. Now I'm going to show you the greenhouse. I have a hanging garden here, so we'll start with that. So at the top I have some arugula, and I have rosemary that hasn't come through yet, and more arugula. And then down here I have some salad bowl lettuce, some giant Caesar lettuce that hasn't come in yet, and then more salad bowl lettuce. Come down next, this right here is going to be parsley, and this is going to be double curl parsley, and then this is going to be more lettuce. And then coming down here, it's going to be cilantro, basil, tarragon, and it looks like I have, is that some cilantro breaking the surface? Let's see. Yeah, it looks like a little cilantro is trying to come up. And then we have Russian kale that's come through. We have dwarf kale that hasn't come through yet, and then more dwarf kale that is starting to pop. And then at the bottom, of course, it's going to be Swiss chard, so we're just waiting on that to come through. And then as we come over here, you can see my bean plants. I have Kentucky Wonder Bean. No, blah, 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 blah. I have Kentucky Wonder Beans. I have long beans. I have a broccoli rab that's planted. And then as we come down, you can see this is going to be radish, lettuce, spinach. This is going to be pak choy and daikon radish. And then as we come over here, starting at the top, I have a pepper plant that I transplanted from the hydroponic system. I also have Bloomsdale spinach that I planted, which I have one coming up here, and some basil. And then as we come over here, I have a bell pepper plant, more basil. I planted parsley. This is a bell pepper plant that I had to transplant from the hydroponic system because it broke. I guess it got a little too heavy. Normally I would pull off the flowers and everything because you wanted to focus more on rooting and getting stronger and healthy, but because it was already growing a bell pepper, I don't want to stress the plant out too much more. Then as you come down, I'm growing garlic chives, leeks, and carrots. And then on this side is going to be onions, dill, and some double curled parsley, which it looks like I got some parsley in here already. Then as you come down here, I had to replant another Kentucky Wonder Bean, and it's also going to have a broccoli rapina, or I'm sorry, broccoli rab. And then over here is going to be some kohlrabi that I had to replant. I have a cucumber plant coming in down here. I also have another pepper plant, the poinsettia. And of course I planted some more herbs, so we'll see how this goes. These are actually 2 really big containers. And I've planted over here more tomatoes, herbs, and looks like something's trying to come in right there. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but I can't wait until everything comes in. I'll keep you guys updated. And of course that's my potato plant that's coming in. And then we move along over to the smaller greenhouse. And in this greenhouse, I am growing basil, chocolate cherry tomato, and chocolate cherry tomato, cilantro, so different herbs. This is also a hybrid hydroponic system because at the bottom of this system I have clay pebbles, which I'm just going to add going forward, nutrient solution now that everything's rooted. And then when you come over here, I'm growing Swiss chard and pepper, which as you can see the pepper's already coming through. It's a, what is it, Einaham pepper. And then as we move along here, we have a radish plant. And as you can see, it's already got radishes coming through. This is a spinach plant. This is a Bloomsdale spinach. And then that is just going to be lettuce right back here. And then as we move down, this is my herb container, which is growing tarragon, Italian parsley, cilantro, and more basil, of course. And then as you look back here, more lettuce. And I have some spinach that was coming in. I've had a bit of a fungus net problem, so I had to make an insecticidal soap. So it's been working. I haven't seen too many fungus nets, so I'm probably going to have to replant that, but we'll see. And then as we come down, this is white icicle radishes. As you can see, it's growing in. Then I have red radish, and I'm also growing carrots in this container, although I don't see that anything's come up yet, but we shall see. And then as you come down here, this is actually going to be beets and kale, more beets and kale, and then of course more beets and kale. Yeah, you can see the floor. I have plastic on the floor and on the walls when I created this room. Alrighty, but getting back on track, this is another self-built container, and it has mustard spinach, basil, jalapeno pepper plants, purple basil, and tiny Tim tomatoes, which you can see the tiny Tim tomatoes, basil, jalapeno pepper plant, more basil. This jalapeno has not come up yet. I'm going to give it another day or two, and if there's still nothing, then of course I'm just going to have to replant. And then as we come down here, this is a hydroponic cucumber plant. These are also 2 systems that I've built. This is a broccoli plant. It did grow, but then I broke the plant because I knocked this and it just snapped. And then as you come over to this container, though, I have some zucchini growing. I have some parsley growing. And then I also planted another bean plant. So that should hopefully be coming up soon. Then we come over to 2 more containers that I've built. This is parsley, basil, beefsteak tomato, dill, and a green pepper. So far the tomato plant has come up, and the basil has come up, and the dill has come up. So we just wait on everything else to come up. And then I'll give you a look at the container behind it. And the container behind it is growing another Einaham chili pepper. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We got some cilantro, sweet peppers, chives, and more green basil. Looks like the basil has come up and the chives are trying to come up. And it looks like maybe the sweet pepper is trying to break through too. So that's awesome. And then as you come in front, I have some pak choi and some arugula growing, and some more fresh thyme back here. And then this container has mustard spinach and dwarf kale. Then when you come down to the next ones over, I got basil, tarragon, parsley, and then more basil and parsley. And then of course this is growing basil and parsley. And now I am on the top shelf, and this is the last 4 systems that I'm showing. Over here I have more pak choi, and then over here this is just nothing but herbs, which, let me get the light. I had to replant a couple of things, but pretty much it's parsley, cilantro, sage, and dill and thyme. And then back here I have more Swiss chard growing, and of course the ones that have the lids on them is because I had to replant. I originally did not have enough light, and so they were reaching and then they were dying. As you can see, they hopefully will pick up here with the light being directly on them. And then as you come over here, this is going to be lacinato kale, collards, and Russian kale. And of course I built reflecteds by just a reflecteds, whatever people call it, using foil to, you know, utilize the light. But yeah. And next I wanted to give you guys a quick look at the lights that I am using. This is a red, blue, and yellow spectrum lights. It's important to have lots of lights when you have a grow room, because you're not using natural light from the sun, and you want to make sure you have the correct spectrum, which I'll give you more information on that at a later date. But I just want to show you guys some of the lights that I'm actually using in my grow room. And in the greenhouse here, we're just getting the vegetables on top and the bottom. Let's just open that so you can get an idea. Also, this light is doing pretty well also. And then when you come over to the smaller greenhouse, got this light here, which is pretty much covering these plants. And then this light here, which is pretty much covering these plants, as well as getting some of the plants on the bottom. And then they also too have their own lights, which I'm going to have to adjust that one. But yeah, so we'll discuss that later as well. And I also want to show you the fans that I have. Like this fan is going over to that green. Oh, sorry, this fan is going to that greenhouse. This fan is pretty much blowing to the plants on the bottom here, as well as inside this greenhouse here, just to give it a little bit of airflow. And then I have the plant, I'm sorry, oh gosh, I have the fan that's on top of the deep freezer pointed to the vegetables at the top. So we got a lot of airflow going on in here, because you definitely need airflow when you have plants, or you risk fungal diseases. And yeah, it's no fun. So you just want to make sure you're utilizing airflow, keeping things trimmed, or, you know, make sure you harvest when you have to harvest, so you just don't have a whole bunch of vegetables compacted in, you know, small area. Oh, and of course you see back here, when we turned the utility room into the grow room, of course we had to move stuff off the shelves and move stuff on top of other shelves, but everything was cleaned and wiped down. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Once again, thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it. And if so, please hit the like button at the bottom and be sure to subscribe for future videos. Thanks again. Have a good day, guys.